So 47-year-old Shadow Cabinet member Alex Burghart, you were elected as a Conservative MP in 2017. And last month, you did something which very, very few politicians ever get the chance to do. You stood in for Kemi Badenoch at Prime Minister's Question Time.
This government is doing it to the British people. High tax, high inflation, low growth, low reform. There's a word for that, Mr. Speaker. It's Starmerism. It's because the truth is ugly. The truth is that this is a punishment meted out to people who don't vote Labour. It's the same punishment meted out to parents who send their children to private schools. It's the same punishment meted out to the owners of small businesses terrified about national insurance contributions. And it's the same punishment meted out to pensioners who can't afford to pay their fuel this winter. Isn't it the truth, Mr. Speaker, that if you don't vote Labour, they don't care about you?
I want to know everything about this. How did you find out? When did you know that you were going to do this?
Well, I got, I think it was Monday night, and I got a phone call from Kemi.
Monday night?
Yeah, I think it was Monday night. Kemi phoned me up and said, Prime Minister's away this week. I said, oh, right. And she said, so he's not going to be at PMQs. I said, oh, right. Well, so you're not going to do it either. Well, who should we ask to do it? She said, you're going to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
And I thought, oh, okay. And I didn't sort of really process it in the moment. I thought, all right, that's something I've got to do on Wednesday. And then it was sort of a couple of hours later, as I was sort of leaving the office, that it sunk in that this was happening. And once it's in your thoughts, you can't really escape it. Because being in the Commons, you're in the Commons a lot, you're on telly a lot, but actually you're in front of all of your colleagues at the same time. You've got the whole of the Labour Party against you,
braying at you,
and you've got your whole family and all of your old friends watching at home, and it lives in your head through the night, in your dreams, all the way up to when you stand up, and then it goes very quickly.
Does it?
I just absolutely shot by.
Because it's 6 questions.
That's right.
And they go quite quickly.
Yeah, and then I sat down for the final one. I can't believe it's over. It's.
How was your sleep the night before?
The night before, the Tuesday night wasn't too bad, but the Monday night wasn't great. Just it's churning through your head, and then you wake up, and it's sort of you're dreaming about it. You wake up, and you're still churning it over. You're just trying to what's going to work best. What are your lines? How are you going to get answers out of the government? And it's only 6 questions.
It's only 6 questions. Would you like to do it again?
Yeah, I would.
Would you do anything differently, actually, if you did do it again? Did you learn something?
I know you definitely learn things about it, because so the thing that you can't hear on TV, and because you've been in the Commons, right? But on TV, you don't hear the sound of everybody shouting, but you get this enormous, sort of football crowd roar, both from your side and from the government. And it's very loud. And if the speaker can't hear what's going on, he interrupts. So it breaks the flow. You lose your clips for social media. And you're in this balancing act of making sure that you don't shout too loud.
You did shout quite loud.
I did, because I wanted Mr. Speaker, wanted Lindsay Hoyle to hear what was going on. But there are some people who are more experienced who learn the trick of, you let the crowd sort of die down a bit, then you come in. And so you do learn things about how to work with the room.
Why do you think you were the one that got that phone call?
I don't know. I have to ask Kemi that. I don't
know what it's like, politics. It will have put some noses out of joint.
Yeah, she said beforehand. She said before it was made public that I was doing it. Said, we've got a lot of talent in the Shadow Cabinet. Not everybody in the Shadow Cabinet is well known. I want other people to have a go. So just because I'm asking you now, it doesn't mean you'll do it next time. It's so we're gonna. And there are a lot of good people in Shadow Cabinet who I think will do really well at it. So I don't know. Maybe she wanted to give me a challenge.
Do you think it would be harder to do what you did to square up against Angela Rayner, the Deputy Prime Minister? I think she's a tougher act than perhaps the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer.
They've both got very, very different styles. And Angela's a tough politician, and she's very confident at the dispatch box, and she's pretty experienced. So I know both of them present very different challenges.
Did you chat to her afterwards?
Yes, I did. I did. Because, you got all of this sort of adrenaline. And I went up to her afterwards and I said, Angela, I do take my hat off to you, because I know how nerve-wracking it is now to ask six questions. Goodness knows what it's like to answer questions for half an hour. And I think that is, I remember reading somewhere that Tony Blair said, on Wednesday mornings, I still get butterflies.
Yeah.
I still kind of get the shakes and Blair was very good at it. He was very, very controlled. He was always sort of on top of his brief, always had an answer for everything. But beneath the surface, he was a bundle of nerves. And so I think, you can only imagine what it's like to have 649 other people standing around you and they can ask you anything about anything.
I know, it's tough. Just wanted to ask you a non-Prime Minister's question. Before you came to Parliament, you taught history for a while.
Yeah.
And I wondered, because you came into Parliament in 2017, you won, which makes you fortunate after what happened to the Conservative Party at the last election. But if you were to do a lecture, teach people about the lessons of the Conservative government from 2017 to 2024, can you think of a name?
Well, I'll answer a slightly different question.
I bet you will.
Because I've been back, I go and talk in schools, and I go and talk in universities, and I think there is this sort of extraordinary period, which you've lived and worked through as well, Gloria, which, say, like 2008 to now, we've had about a century's worth of history. The biggest financial crisis since 1929, biggest constitutional crisis since 1916, the biggest pandemic since 1919, the biggest war in Europe since 1945, biggest energy crisis since the 1970s, highest inflation since the 1980s.
All right, you don't have to give me the whole history.
But you get the picture, and we're living in this period of accelerated time. And there'd been this period when I was growing up where everything seemed to be getting progressively easier, and then it stopped. I think the title is a century of history inside 15 years.
So you served under, this is actually tough. I hadn't made a note of this. So 2017. So that was Theresa May. Then we had Boris Johnson. Then we had Liz Truss. Then we had Rishi Sunak. Which one were you closest to out of interest?
So I worked with Theresa in her number 10, so I was in the policy unit there, but I never got to know her personally. And then I was Boris's parliamentary Home secretary for a couple of years, which sort of overlapped with COVID. So some of the time I was in my constituency in Essex there, but I spent a lot of time with him, and I didn't know Liz or Rishi so well, but I know Kemi very well. Kemi is a very close friend of mine. We came in 2017 at the same time. It was clear very early on that she was going to be a star, that she was the future of politics. And it's wonderful to work with someone who you really respect and admire, but who you also sort of see as a really close friend.
Final question. So I am struck when I have conversations with people in the Labour Party about how often reform comes up and the threat that reform as a party presents, and the need to find strategies to deal with them and to take them seriously. Do you spend much time thinking about reform? Yeah,
I do, absolutely. I mean, reform came second in my seat in Brentwood and Ongar in Essex. They got about 11,000 votes, so it's a big achievement. If we don't take them seriously, then there will be consequences. So now the Conservative Party has to get back the people who voted for us in 2019, but then stayed at home. A lot of people around the country who didn't want to vote for reform, they didn't want to vote for Labour, they wanted to vote for us, but they couldn't when it came to it because they were annoyed with us. We've got to get those people back. And we also have people who went to reform because they wanted something slightly different. We've got to show them that we're the party with ideas, with a plan for government who can actually get things done. Not just a campaigning outfit. We're a party of government. We're the party that's going to clean up Labour's mess. So you have to take reform seriously. You've got to take Labour seriously. You've got to take abstention seriously. And we in the Conservative Party, we're going to need a message for young people. We're going to need the next generation of voters to come to us.
Gosh, any ideas? No young people. I mean, I'm saying, obviously some young people do, but statistically, it's ridiculous how few young people vote for you.
No, that's right. And
any headlines, we're very short on time now. Anything, well, if we just focus on X, we might get some young people vote.
I know from speaking to young people in my constituency that they have conservative values, that they want to build families and careers and businesses, and we've got to help them make their dreams come true.
Alex Burghart, it's been interesting to talk to you about politics, but really, really fascinating for you to lift the bonnet, if you like, on that weekly joust, that weekly bear pit that we know as Prime Minister's Question Time. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me on.